So today I'm thrilled to welcome our poet laureate of the day, David Zaza, to the stage. David Zaza is a partner at McCall Associates, a design company specializing in museum and gallery publications. His poetry has been published in various magazines since 1992, and recent multidisciplinary projects include the Goldberg Variations, an audio work which presents his recited poetry with piano accompaniment, Before and After, or At the Same Time, a poem illustrated with 3 charcoal drawings, and Unreliable, a poetry/drawing collaboration with visual artist Mark Fox. Without further ado, David, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Nick. I'm really delighted to be part of this series, and today's talk was fantastic. I'm going to read 4 poems. The first is from the poetry drawing collaboration that I'm working on with Mark Fox. The poem's called Wave Goodbye. Wave goodbye, white hanky in hand, early evening train, and I want nothing on the wane of a grand central fade out. The colors pop and trains roar out, and it's all wrong because you're the only thing disappearing. From here they go northwest, these tracks, forge steel paths to glory lie and twist with a passion as blankly subdued as my own emotion. We worry only the minutes and the jokes of the days of distanced reunions like tomorrows run on. Temporary measures make me as weak as a widow, as a window blowing open to reveal something new. Innocent days and silent years may go by and by. You're so good at riding through nights at Coney Island, high as a bird and spiking your words. But here you're just silent, put in the distant hub, in motion, by walking through. Nothing as welcoming as it is rank. You rose is a rose and then you sank, spikes and all, below the surface. But it's whiskey, not water, and you just can't. I tell you what to say, but back then you could never remember. Will I ever see this face-making face again, singing or cutting wordlessly to rest? The conductor conducts me off the train, and he wouldn't whistle, and neither will I. Imagine the heartbreak. Turns out it was fake. When we focus, we should focus on the best and let our friends find us fine in our skinny punk pants. I remember I'm sorry you're leaving. Last call. Last dance. The next poem illustrates a suite of 3 charcoal drawings that I made examining simultaneous events. It's called Before and After, or At the Same Time. The car flies through time as much as it does the sky toward the house. The house remembers it burned only after the car came crashing in. The landscape disappears, as so many landscapes do, to smears of coal. Though not possible, there are no people in the car, nor in the house. From here, the light is light and the shadows harsh, in stark contrast. From now on, time is still, even though the car flies and the house burns. The sun burns too, up in its sky, as earth burns too, here on earth. The third poem takes place in Walter de Maria's New York Earth Room, which was dug up in 1986 after a false rumor suggested that the body of Eton Pates was buried there. The ghost of Eton Pates. I am diffuse. I am loose as vapor, filling an inert room. Like air, I am where there is nothing else. And though they came looking, and though they came digging, there was apparently nothing. So I am always missed and never found in the New York Earth Room. It's decades now, though time is timeless in this state. Don't speak of dimensions or that it's decades now, in the dirt, in the dust, in the small spaces between the crumbs of earth that fill my home. I was physical, sidewalking, and as curious as a boy alone in the world for the first time. It was just similes because really I was the same thing I am now, only concentrated and in form. But the particular form in which this thing existed is still simply missed. Now I am just out of reach. One may think in this angled evening sunlight, I am going to appear, warm in the warmth, dusty as memory, that I'm limnable in these very words. I am not. I am abstracted from spirit, neither of shadow nor light, and I move around the spare specks floating in the air, barely there, in a peace as thin and unhaunted as a calm. The final poem is an ode, but the title is Spanish rather than French, in a nod to the Spanish-speaking neighborhood the poem takes place in, and the salsa rhythm in its heart. Alborada. I lie in blissful stupor as a beautiful light lets summer inside from the heights. I have shed all my energies and let my passions overflow. Now my heart rate settles down, calmness rises around me. Today's lover floats through this apartment of his, doing nothing really, just gliding on the warm air, breathing through the sheer curtains. From downstairs, from out on the sidewalk, we hear music young men are playing, their radio filtering up through the heat, a sultry voice singing longingly over a salsa rhythm. The song starts slowly, but when a violin sounds and women's voices drift in, my man says something about nostalgia, opens the window a bit more, and quietly sings along. The sung Spanish sounds sensual, and I absorb the feeling and watch him coyly dance, swaying his hips, his hands swimming in the liquid warmth. I feel close to him and far away at the same time. I breathe in his scent, and a longing, deep and expressive, rises from my own naked, quiet body. He smiles seriously, then withdraws once again into reverie or memory and becomes almost invisible in the gaze and gauze of pulsing euphoria. Without touching me, he touches me once again, ending our short affair with a kiss. I walk out, past the young men and their music, and find my way through the bright afternoon sunshine. I am alive and awake, and morning is breaking. Again, many thanks to the Rail for having me today. I'm really honored to be here.
Thank you so much, David. What a beautiful way to end our event today. Thank you for joining us.